We're moving on to the other notable story from today, and that was a number of WWE cuts, 8 in total. So the names that were reported throughout the day by Fightful Select and PWInsider.com. I was also able to confirm these 8 names. We had Ezra Judge, who had been in the company for... Ezra Judge was a former bodybuilder and football player who had actually been signed by the Toronto Argonauts in 2013, but was only on the team for a few months before he was let go. Vanessa Bourne, who had been with the company since 2016 and hasn't wrestled since January of 2020. And she had been reportedly like one of those quiet call-ups, but never actually appeared on the main roster. And that's only curious of whether that call-up led to her getting a main roster contract, because that would matter in terms of her no-compete clause. NXT are typically 30-day no-competes. Main roster is 90 days, but I do not know her status. Again, she has not wrestled in a year and a half. Brandy Lauren, who was wrestling as Skylar Story. She was Brandy Lauren on the Independents. She had only been with the company since last summer. Kavita Davie, who may be a bit of a surprising name because she had been so heavily promoted as the first female of Indian descent on the roster and had been part of that WrestleMania Battle Royal in 2018. However, she had not wrestled since July of 2019 and was getting up there. She was 38 years of age, and they had mentioned at the Superstar Spectacular that there was a family issue and she couldn't appear on that show. So there might have been other factors to that one. Jessamine Duke, who had been working of late in the digital department, surprised at all by that one?
Not so much.
I get the sense like it seemed like the wrestling part had kind of ended for her. So this seems like more of just a cut with someone that kind of the wrestling project had ended.
Yeah. And, is Marina still even a part of the company?
She's still there. I mean, she was on TV for that angle when Roderick Strong gave his notice a few weeks back.
Right. But it didn't seem like these two were really involved in any sort of other storylines. And to be quite honest, I don't know how far the progression was going, in ring-wise. So it doesn't surprise me that much.
Alexander Wolfe, who, Tuesday was obviously the write-off in Imperium, where he was just jumped by Eichner and Bartel, and that appears to be his release. And he's already noted that, he'll be free of his contract next month and moving on. A talented guy, I thought, was Alexander Wolfe. And then we have referee Jake Clemens, who has already been booked by AIW out of Cleveland for next month, and Drake Wuertz, which was one that I think this was... you can read the reporting of David Bixenspan. Sean Ross Sapp has a lengthy story about just all of the issues that have been building up for this. This was an untenable situation. This, to me, was an inevitable release.
You never want to hear about any of these people losing their jobs, except for that guy. It's quite amazing, especially hearing some of those stories. Even before hearing about those stories, just the idea that this dude was kept around when a lot of people aren't. Now, I do understand, we don't know the exact reason why that they gave for letting him go, and I don't even know if they really need a reason for a lot of these talents. It could just simply be, hey, we don't really see a future with you. We don't want you around. But with Wuertz, with so much I think bad publicity that his name brought around publicly, wearing the NXT logo on his chest, and man, this is an issue that I think goes beyond someone's just political beliefs and into territory that I don't think a major company really wants to be associated with. So I was really surprised it took this long.
Yeah, I think that, you can look at all of the stories, and it was a situation that I'm sure they were just, as a company, I think have to be careful that they're not leaving themselves open to anything. If, in terms of, that line of, somebody's, personal beliefs that cross over into a work environment that is affecting other people. Yeah.
But from some of these accounts, it feels like, it sounds like there was more than just that. Like,
Oh
this
yeah,
sounded like a man who was making people feel very uncomfortable going to work.
Well, that's it, and I think that is, once you have somebody that is out there and espousing these beliefs, these thoughts that are upsetting others, talking about the fact that he will not wear a mask or believes in vaccinations, like you are
condemning others for getting vaccinated.
I mean, it's yeah. Again, this was an untenable situation, and this to me was inevitable. The others, I think it's just a whole different category that they are in versus him. Any other final thoughts on any of the cuts? I mean, this is they will, in theory, be available within 30 days if they go elsewhere. So I mean,
Alexander Wolfe tweeted he'd be available June 16th. So around 30 days. Yeah, he is certainly the biggest name out of them all, especially, having just been featured in NXT. Whenever I see something like this, I always wonder, hey, like, did they tell him before going out there? And if not, what was the story that they told him that, they were going to be doing? So anyway, it's rather unfortunate. I have to say, like, I don't know if I saw that much of a, upside to his like kind of trajectory within the company, but we hear about stories like these all the time where like guys leave the company and they just like find themselves somewhere else and they just like excel. So I hope he would be one of those.